Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about the explosion procedure inside the Plaxis. How we can create an explosion point inside the Plaxis and creating a wave of explosion inside the cluster and getting the output based on the explosion properties. In 2D and 3D, each of those softwares need to get its own point explosion procedure. But they have their own similarity too. For Plaxis 3D, we are going to create a specific polycurve. In this polycurve, we are going to create a half part of the circle, maybe 0.25 is okay. And we're creating one part right now. So we are going to generate it here. A simple of half circle. In 2D, it's different. In 2D, we are going to use the tunnel icon and we're going to create a specific part of the circle system and define the whole tunnel for all explosion procedure when going to happen inside the cluster, or if the cluster is in your boundary and it's going to happen from a specific part of the boundary and going to generate itself the wave of the explosion inside the model, we need to create a half of the model here too. For this part, I'm going to delete this part too. Now we have one half of circle here. For the segment, I'm going to use the radius, maybe 0.25 here too, and generating it. So, what is the difference between them? If I have an explosion near completely attached to my boundary, and what is different between all of it? I'm going to creating it right now based on the 3D, right now, this time. Let's create a specific sphere for our job. We are going to select this special polycurve, going to the revolve around axis system of the extrusion and extruding it around the axis Y, okay, like here, and zero this one and make this one 360. Now we have a full sphere here. This sphere is going to be our starting point of the explosion, okay? Right click on it and create the surface load on this part. And in 2D, what should I do? I'm going to recreate this special half circle again, right now. So, free half right system. And in segment, again, I'm going to having it a circular part. So I'm here, I have 0.25 again, for example. But in here, for getting the special surface load, you're going to properties, right click on it, and go to create your line load. So in here, I'll be back into the Plaxis 3D right now. In Plaxis 3D, the load of explosion is the dynamic load procedure. We are going to the surface load. Okay, in the surface load system, exactly, the dynamic surface load it's different from the static one. The dynamic I choose the perpendicular load, put the number 1 here, and then 0 for the sigma z because I don't want it. So what do I have the next one? So we need to introduce the function of the multiplier of explosion. What happened to the 2D? In 2D, we are going to do this part in here, in a specific part, it's still internal properties. We are going to put 0 for the Y. We are going to the uniform for dynamic load, perpendicular to system, put 1 here. And you can put the dynamic load here. We are going to create dynamic multiplier X and Y, and for 3D, X, Y, and Z. For this one, the harmonic is going to be okay. The amplitude maybe is the amplitude of the explosion, maybe it's 10,000. And the frequency might be 0.5. And if the 0.5 frequency happens, the explosion happens a blink of the eye. And this is very important to choose the time interval of your system between 1 and maybe between 1 and 0.1 seconds, okay? And the explosion going to happen. But this procedure is needed to be completely creating it carefully. So I'm creating it here, and I'm going to assign it to the both of parts. Now you can see all the direction of the 2D, we have the explosion. In 3D, we are going to create the load, right here, harmonic, maybe 10,000 again, depends on your explosion, point explosion. and frequency of 0.5 here too, but time interval should be considered. I'm OK, clicking on OK, the Y and the Z direction should be all the same. In the end, you can see this whole system is going to be different. So what do we have here? The explosion happening and going to move around all the cluster, and you can move your point of the explosion wherever you want. But you should remember, the explosion in 2D and 3D has different kind of stuff, like a line of explosion, or maybe a different part of explosion, like a different line of the explosion with this part. And you need to create a line of explosion, and the explosion, time-dependent explosion detonators, and of course the explosion comes from rockets or ballistic missiles, and everything could be creating it and could be understanding through the mine explosion, and everything else we could create completely through 2D and 3D. In 2D also you can have your system. You can see you can have your system, but you can also have your line procedure and whatever kind of different part of the movements if you want to 2D and 3D. So for more details about the videos and get more specific about what kind of wave, how this wave going to create, and what kind of mines and the fire explosion, detonators, everything about explosion, I suggest go to the channels, the IGFS channel, go to the support of the IGFS channel, and then you can contact the support and ask for more details, and we are going to be at your service. Thank you very much. Goodbye. For the detailed video, please join the Telegram channel of the IGFS and get in touch with the channel support in the language of your choice.